Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rebbetzin Miryam Bejarano Gutierrez, and I'm so glad that everyone is here. Happy Purim. And so today is a small class on precisely the miracle of Purim. So, let's begin, everybody. All right. Okay. As everyone knows, Purim is fast approaching. And now, more than any other time, Purim has taken a deeper meaning because the people of Israel have united in this time of conflict. Now, the first thing that we need to define is what is Purim. Every year on the 14th of the Hebrew month of Adar, which is late winter and early spring, the Jewish people celebrate the holiday of Purim. Now, this year's Purim is observed from Saturday night, which is March 23rd, through Sunday, which is March 24th, with an additional day on Monday in Jerusalem. And so, in honor of the deliverance of the Jewish people from Haman's scheme to destroy, kill, or annihilate all of the Jews, young and old, infants and women, in a single day during their time in the ancient Persian Empire. Purim, which means literally lot in ancient Persian, got its name from the Megillah, Book of Esther, which tells of Haman's casting of lots to decide when to carry out his evil plan. That Shabbat is known as Parshat Shekalim, which ushers in the month of Adar. So what is the origin of the name? We read the portion of the Torah that addresses the Machatzit HaShekel, or the half shekel, which is collected from each person annually and is used to buy communal offerings from the Beit HaMikdash on the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar. So we read this portion on the Shabbat that precedes Rosh Chodesh Adar because the Mishnah tells us that this is the day of the half shekel was first collected statewide. Why is it that we choose to collect the half shekel on the beginning of the month of Adar? So from the halachic perspective, the time is determined by the need that communal offering be renewed each year at the beginning of the month of Nisan, meaning that they must be made using the half shekels that have been gathered for that year. So since it is estimated that it will take roughly 1 month to gather the monies and arrange them in the Beit HaMikdash, that collection process starts 1 month early, in the first week of Adar. The day of Purim, which falls on the first day of the month of Adar, is likewise linked to the date of the gathering of the half shekel. Haman proposes to compensate the Jewish people for the loss as part of his scheme to persuade Ahasuerus to agree to the annihilation of the Jewish people. Esther 3:9 states, "I will weigh out 10,000 talents of silver for deposit into the king's treasuries." Pertaining to the payment of the Gemara states, Rabbi Rish Lakish said, "It was revealed and known before he who spoke and the world came into being, that Haman would in the future weigh out shekalim for the purposes of destroying the Jewish people. Therefore, he preceded the shekalim of the Jews to those of Haman, and thus we learned in the Mishnah." This is in Megillah 13b. So how does Haman's plan to weigh out silver talents for our annihilation to counteract our people's annual half shekel donation to the Beit HaMikdash? Haman begins by characterizing our people as such when he approaches Ahasuerus with his plan to destroy us in Esther 3:8. There is a nation, it's scattered and separate among all of the nations. So why does Haman characterize us as scattered and separate at the same time? In his commentary, Manot Halevi to the Megillah, Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz clarifies that these are, in reality, two different concepts. Geographically speaking, our people were indeed scattered through the kingdom, as the term scattered indicates. The word separate describes as an emotional distance. At that period, Jewish people were plagued by conflict, discontent, and apathy toward one another. So why does Haman bring up this information? How can he and Ahasuerus be interested in the internal disputes among the Jews? Haman understood that Ahasuerus would have to be convinced of the plot's certainty of success before he would consent to his plan to wipe out the Jewish population. However, it is probable that the monarch will harbor some reservations. After all, do the Jewish people not possess a history of remarkable divine protection from their adversaries? By pointing out that the Jewish people are currently divided, Haman tries to assuage this worry. Even Haman understood that the Jewish people could lose their divine protection and become more open to attack from their enemies if they were divided. Haman thus addresses Ahasuerus, saying, "Your Majesty, you have nothing to fear from them as they currently stand apart." In fact, here is Esther's opening statement in her attempt to speak with Ahasuerus on behalf of her people is due to this very reason. And she says, "Go and gather the Jews together." Ibid 4:16. Esther is stating that none of her initiatives will be successful unless the fundamental problem that first gave Haman the idea to devise his plan is resolved. The Jewish people's primary goal should be to unite and restore their oneness in order to qualify for Hashem's unique protection, as they are most vulnerable when they are divided. The Jewish people did in fact unite. They put aside their differences and restore their togetherness in the face of a common enemy who was out to destroy them completely. In doing so, they were blessed by Hashem with their own salvation and their victory over Haman. When Haman's decree was overturned, Mordecai sent out a second message, which is for the Jews to be prepared for that day to exact vengeance for their enemies. Ibid 8:13. In the Hebrew text, the word atadim means to be prepared. Although it is pronounced as if written with a yud, it is written in the Megillah with a vav. The tradition of reading it in another way is known as kri uksiv. The root meaning of the word atadim is goats, because it is a job of the goats for the flock to stay together. For this reason, the people assigned by Hashem to keep the Jewish people together are referred to as atudim. This idea was vital to our triumph that day in the battle against our enemies, because we could not have prevailed without uniting and calling upon the divine presence to aid us in our victory. So irony abounds in the Purim story, especially as Haman is called Sorer Ya Ha-Yehudim, or oppressor of the Jews, in the Megillah, which is an accurate description of him. The word sorer which means oppressor, however, comes from the same source as the word sor, which means a bundle. Put another way, Haman is not just our oppressor, but also the one who gathered us, bundled us together. Haman, without a doubt, felt great nachas that he was carried out to the gallows. But he also acted as a spark for the Jewish people's unity through his repressive decrees against them. So the goal of the mitzvah of Mishloach Manot is to foster a sense of unity, which are the qualities that made the Purim miracle possible. Esther teaches us a lesson of unity and community. So why is that? The Purim story itself provides this important lesson in this regard. Prior to her appearance before the king, Esther announces a 3-day fast for the whole people of Shushan. She says, "Go and gather all the Jews that ought to be found in Shushan and fast for me." Esther not only tells Mordecai that the people should fast, but most importantly, she says, fast for me. What does this mean exactly? Esther is stating that in order for the Jewish people to survive the impending catastrophe, they must deal with the division and conflict that plagued them at that time. She therefore declares, I am in danger of being killed when I appear before the king in 3 days, and you are all in danger of being wiped out in the 13th of Adar. Please put aside your personal issues and fast for me. I prioritize my worries over yours, since doing so will help us succeed. Furthermore, she continues, my maids and I will fast in a similar manner as well. That is, we will put your well-being ahead of our own immediate danger. Finally, Esther says, even though it is against the law, I will approach the king with a sense of unity and togetherness. Esther, and with her actions, showed the Jewish people of that time the true meaning of community, by setting aside their differences and therefore acting as one mind, one heart, one soul. The Jewish people, more than a community, which we definitely are, we are family. The Torah in various instances describes our fellow Jew as your brother. We are indeed brothers and sisters. The sages illustrated in the Gemara a discussion regarding the effectiveness of prayer. According to the Gemara, even after it has been sealed, a heavenly decree can be revoked by the combined power of communal prayer, which is greater than the of individual prayer. This gives the miracle of Purim an even more impactful and profound meaning. The Torah, which is the fundamental element that defines the Jewish people as a people, is ultimately the reason why maintaining Jewish unity is so important. The verse that follows tells us of our arrival to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. They journeyed from Rephidim and arrived at the wilderness of Sinai, and Israel encamped there opposite the mountain, Shemot 19:2. Rashi makes a beautiful quote regarding this midrash, as one man with one heart. Our unity served as a prerequisite for receiving the Torah. Actually, the midrash tells us that Hashem would not have given the Torah to us at all on Sinai if it had not come here as one. The midrash states, the Holy One, and blessed is He, wished to give the Torah to Israel immediately upon them leaving Egypt. But there was contention among the people. They would travel with strife and encamp with strife. Therefore, He did not do so. However, when they came to Sinai, they were unified as one group. Yalkut Shimoni, Shemot 273. This illustrates that unity is vital to our survival as one people, and so does the miracle of Purim. I hope that y'all enjoy this small class, and I wish you all a happy Purim with your family and loved ones. Take care, everyone.